everyone. Hope everybody had a wonderful day yesterday, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful day today. So, yes, yeah, I saw that. So yesterday we wrapped up Lazy Days. In fact, I even tried Lazy Days again, not streaming it, and it is still having major issues. So that save is pretty well screwed up. There's nothing I can do about that one except for maybe blueprinting everything, copying it over, and then kind of restarting. Other than that, though, Keen released an announcement for a new update coming, which we all kind of knew was on the way. There had been some YouTubers that were talking about it, as well as just some basic information floating around. But it is a survival-based update, which is going to be really cool. Looks like they're going to be changing up survival a little bit. I'm kind of happy for that. Hopefully that winds up leading to some fun stuff for single-player survival, or for Space Engineers 2 survival. But it was a lot of fun yesterday getting it wrapped up. We got some new stuff coming down the pipe, which is going to be great. However, for today, I decided I wanted to work on something different. Now, if you've been watching my streams for quite a while now, you will probably recognize this ship, or you might not. But this ship is the Mordots. I specifically built it for good friend of the stream, Dots. And it was designed around a few different things. First of all, the biggest thing is that it was designed around two primary scripts. The first being the PAMS script and a very specific mining ship, which I don't have on me at the moment. Actually, let me see if I do. Do I have it? There was... Yeah, here we go. This thing. This is the mining apparatus that Dots was using at the time. And it was designed so that it could dock with these spots. And be able to connect to it. In fact, let's see. Can I? I can. Of course, I can't see shit. Let's get up here so that I can actually see something. Okay. There we go. All right, so that is... I'm actually really happy with how that fits in there. That is the drilling drone that is designed to go with more dots. Well, more dots was designed to go with. That drill is built by somebody else. I don't know who off the top. But it is designed by them in order to facilitate automatic mining through the PAM script. That was one of the stipulations that Dots had made, was that they wanted to use that script. The other big stipulation is that they are using the ×10 inventory size. So it's really meant to also be able to carry a ton of stuff. Now, the biggest problem that I had was that this thing does not carry a whole lot of stuff, at least at ×10. And it probably won't without upgraded thrusters of some sort. But what I wanted to look at was potentially retrofitting this. Because part of the problem with the whole setup is that it's got to carry not only a lot of weight, but it also has to carry itself. And I made this big ass contraption, and it works for the most part, but I was never fully happy with it. Kind of happy, but not fully happy. The idea that I have now is, what I'm considering is chopping off the bridge and moving it forward. Oh, that was the other thing. They wanted it to be a carrier. It also had to have connectors for things. Like, there was this whole constantly growing laundry list of things that Dots wanted me to keep adding to this. And it was like, dude, come on, calm down. But looking on it now, some of the things that I would like to do is, first of all, moving the bridge forward. I could probably cut this in half-ish. Back here, I have a large reactor powering this thing. Not that it really needs the extra power, but it has it. Let's see. Let's go inside real quick. Actually, did I have... I thought I had doors on this thing. Are they on this side? No. That's another thing I can add, is some better ways to get in and out. But what I would like to do... That's actually not a bad idea. And that would then justify the sort of wings that I put on it. But what I'd like to do is kind of carve out this back section and flatten that out so that it has less mass that it's trying to move. But then on top of that, make it easier to get the drones in here. If the only thing they have to do is fly to a point and then connect to the connector that way. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to start with let's start with a little bit of this. I also had an interesting bug. When I first pasted it in, it apparently was too close to the ground, and so it wouldn't let me change it from a ship, or from a station to a ship, which was kind of annoying. Actually, you know what? No, get rid of this. Let's get a little extra space here. Okay. Get some height on this. And we'll get a little bit of length here for the spine. Kind of a front end here. And oh, I just realized what I need to do real quick, because this is still set to survival mode. I also went through and cleaned up some of my saves here since we were wrapping up. Creative. It's also nice. I'm running almost no mods on this game. Just the usual build vision, build info, quieter tools, or sneaky tools, no flashing, that sort of thing. Just the very basic quality of life. Everything else, though, is vanilla. So we shouldn't have any issues at all. And if we do, then I know for a fact that it's one of that group of mods that's doing it. Okay. I should actually be okay on this one. All right, so as far as this goes, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, in this particular case, yeah, we should be fine. I need at least... Okay, so... we should be good there. And... let's also nuke that. And I want... oh, whoops, no, not that one. That one, and then that one. No. Cargo. Conveyors. We'll do junctions, pipes, and then I'm not using small conveyor, so I don't need that here. Let's do hydrogen thrusters. And then if I need anything else, we'll get to that. Okay. So we're looking at something hopefully about this long, was kind of how I want to put it together. And then I'm trying to remember how to do. Oh my God, it's been so long since I've actually had to set up. Aha. Okay. I was trying to remember how to set up mirroring so that I could actually start working on this. All right, we'll go with 7 here. 6 down there. And trying to... hey, what's up, Tommy? Let's start putting together... hey, what's up, Kitar? How you beautiful bastards doing today? There we go. Nice. Yeah, Mom and I were talking about that as well. She still has to run by and get something for her. I know, right? And to think, like, it feels like it was just a couple years ago where she was just that big, you know? Now all of a sudden she's massive. I hate to say it. She, not like horizontally, but vertically, she has become massive. She definitely takes after our side of the family. God, no, she hasn't been football sized for a while. That's the sad part. She done growed up. Let's see. Now, let us start looking at trying to get, there we go. Yeah, I saw that one, the lift. That was actually pretty cool. The 6'4" jackass. Jesus. That's gonna be like on my tombstone. I already know it. Poor guy died at 6'3". And yeah, we have a tall family. Mom's actually about 5'10". I totally believe that too. Yeah, most of our family, like, and especially on my mom's side, because we've got cousins, female cousins, mind you, that are like 6'5", 6'7", 6'8". So height is a thing that just runs in our family. Whoops. All right. Yeah, no, God, no. Running? Actual running? Never. There we go. That's kind of the start that I wanted. And then we'll bring... Oh, this is a refit, more dots. I was looking for something to do today because of the fact that we're pretty much done with lazy days. And next week is going to be starting the server, hopefully. So I figured, why not? Let's work on this. I have an idea, which is always painful. No, that's fair. No. Okay. And then there we go. Where did I put that other? I guess it didn't make it in. Okay, cool. Take out all of those. And then let's clean out that. The I need to round this out a little bit more, I think. What I want to do. What's actually happening is a completely different thing. There we go. I think that's the route that I want to take. So let's bump this up to... Aha! There we go. Kinda, yeah. I can see that. Which is almost what I'm going for, but not quite. There you are. There, that's better. Well, you know, it is something that could happen. There, that's... Yes. Because that was the other thing that always kind of bugged me about the more dots, was its overall shape was not quite what I was after. So this is my chance to get sort of a creative retribution, if you will. Oops. Ha. Oh, hey. And I just got a pop-up notification that Dots is playing Fallout 4. Oops, nope. And actually, no. And then... No, I'll let them play their Fallout 4. It's better this way. Enjoy your games while you can. And then, yep, there we go. Okay. That feels better. That makes me much, much happier. That is a much smoother transition between all of the different faces. Makes it a little rounder. Not quite as harsh and flat. Okay. No, not quite. Becky can only hope to have a butt this round. And whoops. This in here. Okay. So the next step is that I want to start placing. Let's see. Let's start looking at where to put some cargo containers. Now they're using the giant ones, which fit right there quite nicely. That is going to be a lot of cargo storage. Now, again, they also play at 10 times cargo capacity. And so what I had in here is, let's actually go inside. The other thing that this had was an airlock script, which was kind of a pain to put together, but oh, there we go. I'm all the way down here into this part of the ship. And then you come down into the ship. And I actually had this set up for... Yeah, so essentially what I had this set up as, this was actually kind of fun, was that I had... Red was set up specifically for being able to handle inventory. So all of the red pipes only handle items. A nerf? What are you talking about? I usually run it realistic, so 10 times is like ridiculous. But with this, I was really happy how I got all this system working too. Such a huge pain in the ass. That's right, I also had to... God, I'd forgotten the inside of this ship. This thing was ridiculous. In order to even get it working, I had to hide thrusters on the inside of it. Oh, gotcha. That's what you mean by a nerf. Yes. And it is. It is ridiculous. Let's also take a look at the rear section here. In the rear with the gear. And this is the... It had, yeah, 2 large nuclear reactors here. Because that was the only way to keep it powered. But all of this... Oh yeah, little cubby there. It... On regular on a regular setup, this actually doesn't fly too badly. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. Where is my stairs to get back up? Oh yeah, it's over here. The engineering section was such a chore. Such a chore. I hate this stupid script. Stupid airlock script. But hey, it wasn't mine. I don't care as much. Oh, come on. Just open. We're gonna open one of these doors. For the love of all that is holy, open a damn door. I don't care which one. Jesus. That's the problem with the script. Part of what it's doing is it's monitoring a oxygen tank. And it makes sure to maintain that oxygen tank at 50% at all times, so that it can always evacuate the atmosphere in it and move it in and out. And so whenever the area is still full of oxygen or of atmosphere, it will not open the exterior door. I was like, for the love of God, just open it, please. All right, let's finish getting these all covered up. And I figure this ought to suffice. Like, this should be enough storage. And I think I want to do the pipe trick again. Let's... Because what I would like to do is be able to separate the incoming material. Oh. Here's an idea. Separate incoming material, refined material, and then ice. So that all of it has its own individual section. Yes. Idea time. Let's get rid of all of these. Okay. I want to flip them like this. Because then that'll make it easier to separate each one into an individual line. Yep, and that's kind of what I'm thinking of. So essentially what I'm going to wind up with is refined goods, ice, and then raw material. And so that way I can make sure that I keep it all separate. The piping for it alone is going to be atrocious. But also kind of worth it. And I'll just have to maintain like 3 different lines is all. Oh, I already know there's another mod I need to add real quick. I already know it too. More dots, edit settings, mods. And where you at? Paint gun. And I guess we'll add leak finder just cause. Where is it? Where is... Where is it? It's around here somewhere. Am I just not seeing it? There you go. I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, hell. Leak finder isn't that necessary, but it's kind of frustrating that I can't find it now. I'm not going to sit here and spend the entire time looking for it, but I just want to do one more quick scan. It depends. I'm more annoyed that I have it and can't see it. That's really what it comes down to, because I know I have it. And so it's one of those, it's the principle of the thing. Do I not have it? Not keel finder, leak finder. Search. Yeah. Says I have it. Was it air leak finder? No. Yeah, no worries. It's just frustrating that I can't see it. However, in all fairness, my eyes don't always work that well, so... Crimson, no. Colorful icons, blah, blah, blah. How is it? How is it that you're not here? Revised in depth. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh well. We'll move on. All right. Yeah, it should just be, but it wasn't in the L's. It was not with LEAK. So I don't know where it went. I might just have to unsubscribe and resubscribe to it. That's probably what it is. One of those that it's just gone missing. It happens sometimes. Hell, I'm more than happy to chalk it up to Windows 11 at this point. I now have this strange behavior that's happening. Every time I reboot the machine, no, it still showed that I was subbed. But I have this weird behavior now that every time that I restart Windows, I have to unplug and replug in the USB adapter dongle that I have for my audio, for my headset. Because for whatever reason, it just loses it. Will not react to it, will not talk to it, nothing. And it's like, okay, that's a little weird. All right, tools. Character tools. Perfect. All right, so we've got that. Let us actually set you to, we're going to set incoming to yellow. I want to set ice to blue. Yeah, I know about that bug, but I didn't use it at all, so. And then I want, let's primary color these bitches. And turn that back on. Okay. So that'll be the start of our inventory management. Let's not do that. Okay. No, it legitimately loses, like it just forgets that the dongle is connected. That's because I've manipulated it several different times in several different ways, and the only way to fix it is to unplug it and replug it in. It completely loses it as a sound device. Now, as soon as I replug it in, Windows is like, oh, hey, look, there it is. I knew it was there all along. And then I get it again. But up until that point, it just forgets that I have it. But it's only after I reboot my machine. It's one of many problems that I have with Windows 11 so far. I legitimately hate this operating system. I think it's quite possibly the worst thing that Microsoft has done in a long time. There we go. Okay. Actually, wow, I am so trained for survival. Let's actually go to that. Where are you at? There we go. You know what? I think I might actually leave it with that center kind of cutout. I like that. One of the other things that I need to do is make sure I'm going to have to move these. And I need to move them so that I can get the rusters in here. And then let's do the industrial ones. I just like the way that they look more. There we go. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Because I want to set it up so that I'm starting to get out of it's Razer product. It has nothing to do with the main board. Let's swap to that and then to that. There we go. And this is where it gets interesting. Because now that's possible. I'll probably take a look at that later. Oops. I'm not exactly going to start jumping onto it right now. That still doesn't negate the fact that Windows 11 is a shit operating system, though. And you can try and convince me otherwise, but the reality is it's still a shit operating system. And there we go. And then, oh, that is a nice breeze coming in from outside. That, yeah, that'll work. Oh, yeah. Again, even if I did, it's still a shit operating system. Windows 11 has been notoriously bad. I get crashes, and I've double checked this. I get crashes when it installs security updates. It just flat out crashes. Locks up my whole system, dumps my video card, crashes the whole thing on a hard lock, and I have to force power down. And I had to go look through the logs to figure out what the hell was going on. And every time it happens, I see exactly where it happens. I went into my motherboard settings. The motherboard settings show that the thing that it's complaining about is actually working. And yet it still hard crashes. At the end of the day, Microsoft made a crap operating system. Windows 11 is not what Windows used to be. And it's okay to admit that maybe Windows 11 sucks. That's fine. I get your obsessive need to make sure that everybody who doesn't do it technologically correct is then informed or educated, but sometimes it's not always the fault of the end user. Sometimes it's the fault of the OS designer and programmer and producer. All right. And if it wasn't for the fact that I have so many programs that I need Windows for, I would actually switch to something else. I would happily switch to like SteamOS or Linux, God forbid. All right. What I want to do here is also, let's also open up these for that, and then also add the thrusters in here. If I had a better hard drive setup, I would. Like if it was one of those situations where, and actually no, I couldn't. I mean, yes, physically I can set up a dual boot. That's not a problem. The problem comes down to just the fact that I use those programs so at random. Basically, a dual boot is when you install 2 or more operating systems at the same time. Oftentimes, what people will do is go ahead and set up part of their hard drive for Windows and another part of their drive for like Linux. Okay. I also want to start looking at where I want to put the bridge. So let's look at, I need Windows. And in fact, there's been a couple of updates in terms dual booting. For the average person, it's not worthwhile. Like there's legitimately no reason why a normal computer user is ever going to need to set up a dual boot. Ever. If you're more into the technical side of things, or you might need it for work or something like that, then yeah, dual booting is good. Let's do that, that. Grab. Ew. Minecraft on a Mac. Ugh. And that should be good. Okay. So what I want to do is, let's see. Let's do something like that. All right, that's it. You're dead to me, Shio. You're just dead to me. Sorry. I don't know you anymore. I can't be friends with somebody who says something that dumb. Dual booming. There you go. That's the correct way to do it. Oh, Matt's about to be dead to me too. Oh, I actually like that. Ooh. The purge. Yes, absolutely. The purge has begun. However, let's do this first. And then that. Because then windows. Beautiful windows. Not work the way that I want it to. Or does it? Let's do that with no, that's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. Okay, that's fine. I don't need it to work. Why would I need that? And let's switch to the plates for this. That's a good drone right there. Who's a good murder machine? Yes, you are. You're a very good murder machine. I'm just not happy with how that's turning out. Let's do... Ah, here we go. That's kind of what I'm looking for instead. Yes. I'm already in a situation where I've got enough to try and configure into this damn thing. Trying to make it into a microchip, while doable. Fuck you, Matt. Fuck you. Fuck you. I hate you so much. Okay, I have an idea. I think I know how I can make it work. Okay, yeah. It's not that easy. Okay, we'll hold off for a few. Essentially, what I would want to do in order to get the two ships to be able to connect and talk to each other is essentially I would create the pod, and it would have a connector and merge block. And then on the main ship portion, it would again have the connector and merge block. So what you would have happen is that the pod would come down and dock and merge block the two together. And then once the two are merge blocked, they basically become the same grid. And so the cockpit would have access to everything as if it were part of the main ship. Then when you get ready to disconnect, you just turn off the merge block, and then disconnect the connector and separate the whole thing. The thing is, I would have to set up the armor so that it's basically set it up so that there's no way that the two parts can armor-wise actually merge. They can only merge via the merge block. Because if any of the armor is capable of welding itself together, you basically wind up in a situation where the two get welded and will not disconnect. I already know how to do it. Like I've got it all planned in my head. The problem is I've got to actually build it, but I'm not there yet. Because what I need to do is start working on the thrusters. Let us also do that. There we go. And now I should be able to join those. Been playing too much Space Engineers too, because I'm like trying to Alt F, or not Alt F4, but Control Z some of my decisions. Okay, yeah, we're fixed. Like, that was one of those things. I went back and was playing some yesterday, and really good Lord, I was really getting into it because of the fact that I have some ideas on how I would want to build larger ships. And the concept is to use the largest block size to block out the ship design. And then once I have the overall sort of shape that I'm looking for, going back in and cutting away spots and whatnot so that I can start detailing it, adding in the various pieces. In fact, I may do that a little bit later today. Just, you know, because. But you know what? Alt F10. I don't know why I'm needing to build at night. Actually, I don't need to build at night. I'm just choosing to. And then. Aha. Let's swap this to there we go. And then there. Ah. Keep this as sort of the bottom of the ship. Yeah. I like that. Because really what I'm trying to do here is also sort of slim down a lot of the excess ship that I really don't need. What if... You know, I just realized that when I designed more dots, I designed it so that the drills always came up or always came up vertically. All right, Barockstar, have a good one, buddy. And I'll let you know if what you suggested helped, much to my chagrin. But I'll let you know. But what I'm considering here is instead of always having it, let's do this. Whoops. Okay, so I always wind up having these come up vertical. But what if instead I set it up so that the connectors would rotate or put them on hinges? So that way they could launch vertically, but I could store them horizontally. Because if this thing is in space, then it doesn't necessarily have to be in an awkward position. Let's also go ahead Okay. Block, block. And then there we go. That should help. Like, that's hopefully going to be quite a bit of thrust. I will most likely want more, but in the meantime, because I do also need to set up, as Matt suggested, the vectoring thrusters. Which will probably work out fairly well. I hope. And there we go. Okay. So that gives us a little bit more to work with. And I may actually take out part of that. I need to get... Yeah, there we go. I need to get some containers in here. Do I have enough space? Let's... do that. Oh God, they're having us sparkle off. Nothing good can come of this, mark my words. The other one there. Okay. That should... Ooh. Yeah. Because then I can run... Okay, yeah. Is that? No, it's not. Okay. It's cool technology. Anytime that you start messing with something awesome. I need... No. Let's put these in here. There we go. Okay, cool. Where'd the bear bend? There we go. System 32. Oh, good old System 32. Yeah, System 32 is essentially the system folder for Windows, the 32-bit one. I need to bring... It's over... Yep. No. Yes. And there we go. Those are now all connected. That entire network should now be viable for fuel. Awesome. So that takes care of that. Next up, I need... No, she's trying to tell me that she wants me to bring the cats in because she's always away when I do actually do it. That, and she has an obsession with my cats. Question is... I don't generally find it all that necessary to be enamored by dictators. Hence why I don't obsess over my cats. There we go. And then I should still be able to bring in... In fact, I should... They can go ahead and demand all the love in the world. Doesn't mean they're gonna get it. Okay. SFC repair. Okay. After I get done with my stream, Matt, I have a couple of things that you can try to help potentially fix your computer issues. Because it sounds like it's having some problems with its system files, and there's actually command that's built directly into Windows for checking system files. And it's ridiculously easy to run. Like, you don't have to have any special training or anything like that. There we go. And actually what I ought to do is that. Because then hydrogen. Let's do that. Not enough room. Okay. Yeah, no, don't download a bunch of programs. There's a very simple command that Windows comes pre-installed with that all you have to do is run a command prompt in administrator mode, and that is easy to do by itself. But basically what it does is it goes through and it checks all of the system files and verifies that their integrity, and if there's any issues, it'll contact Microsoft and attempt to repair those files directly. So it'll just, try and pull the latest version either from your Windows updates or from whatever files are available to do so. And it's designed to help repair operating systems that have been damaged in some way, shape, or form, kind of like yours has. We used to have to do it quite frequently, especially on older Windows XP and Windows 7 machines that had been infected. So what I need to do is I need to figure out where I can stick. Ooh. Oh. Figured it out. Let's get rid of all of this because it's now not connected because I'm an idiot. That's true. Oops. Damn it. That's fine. Okay. Let's get kind of tight in here. I need... There you go. Unfortunately, I don't think the Seaman Demon has enough money to pay for that sort of a thing, but good thinking. Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, but we're on good terms with him, apparently. We can't just start suing him. Besides, the amount of money that he would potentially win versus how much it'll cost to actually sue him for that amount of money, he'd actually wind up wasting money. All right. So I think that gets us what we're looking for as far as piping. We have the 2 hydrogen tanks, which I'm probably going to need more anyway. I've got all the thrusters that are piped up. We've got a whole bunch of O2H2s. Let us grab some batteries while we're at it. Okay. Bunch of batteries up front. All right. And the thrusters are all now working. Yay. I mean, it's not exactly trying to fly anywhere yet, but we're getting there. What I could also do is, let's see, I need gyros. There you go. It's just a mutually beneficial arrangement, that's all. There. Okay, that should be enough gyros. Like, it's already... I've already compacted way more stuff inside at the front of here than in that behemoth. Because that was one of the biggest issues that I had, was I just didn't like how much empty space was in that ship. There was just so much of it. But the nice thing is that I can keep all of this fairly compact. Yes, hopefully. I want to... get all of those spray painted. This way, if anybody comes in here, they will have a fairly good idea of what and where everything goes. I want people to be able to almost at a glance understand. There we go. That where pipes go, what their function is, that sort of thing. So that way when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, okay, these pipes go to the thrusters. They're blue. That must mean that they're doing ice and fuel. There we go. I should... get right up under here. And also, if you're ever doing complicated work like this, where you have like a lot of piping and conveying, and you just want to make sure you can keep it all straight, do not be afraid to color code it. Because at that point, you are doing yourself a favor. And you are making life easier on yourself. There we go. All right, so that takes care of the start of that. The next thing I need to do is figure out the cockpit. And I don't necessarily need a large cockpit, because I've got a big one over here, and I'm not happy with the way that it looks. I know, right? Let's look at basically, that's just the way we do it. No, I didn't need the 2x. Well, oh, no angled ones. Okay. I need the 1x2 flats. And there we go. Lots of people are, though, in all fairness. So that is a kind of an unfair thing for comparison. And okay. Now what I need is touche. Let's not do that. Let's do that instead. Food is always good. Let's see. Let's do control seat. Do 2 of them, just in case. And you know what? I still don't like the way that looks. That's just too much. So instead, let's slim this down a little bit. You there. Oh. And then yeah, that'll work. And then what I'd like to do is that. No, I have, yes. Oh, oh, yes, yes, yes. Back off. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Okay. You go there. Perfect. Okay. That's what I was looking for. Then how do I want to end that? Yes. No. Yeah, like that. So we start getting into pieces of armor to cover this before we actually get to where the back of the hull should be. And then I can do, I'm thinking, those? And yeah, that'll work. Give us a little bit of an actual bridge here to work with. Actually, no, that's not a bad thing to do. Oh, oh. Is hot dogs, broccoli, and macaroni and cheese is actually really good together. One of the other things that works really well is the combination of, and actually that's not going to work at all. What is it? Thinking, which is painful. That might work. I don't know. But shoot. Smoked sausage, bacon, and macaroni and cheese. That's something that I like to do every once in a while as well. Actually, what if I just do a flat pane like that? So I've got, we've got those new lab doors. And then yes, let's get rid of that. Fair. There we go. That should work, I hope. Then I could, let's see, let's actually get rid of that for now. Not H. We'll do some inset beds. Turn off. I think 3. I will do 4. 4 ought to work. Although that might be a bit too much. Let's do, whoops. Those 2, and then do half beds in here. Kind of a tight squeeze, but I think that'll make it a little bit more interesting. Make it a little bit more like an actual ship. And again, it helps to keep it more in line with the fact that this is trying to be a more compact design. The next thing I need are passages. And specifically, I want the, here we go. I want the half passages. That. And then corner. Yes. There we go. So I could... I should be able to leave that there. No. No. And I know why. Let's get rid of those. Corridor. I know one of these has a window. Do the intersection there. Oh, yeah, that'll work. Okay, so that will... I like the way that this is working out. Perfect. So just a tiny little corridor to get in here, because again, this is just a tiny little corridor anyway. It's turning out that way. I'm really happy with how this is coming together. That also means that I can put in... I need... Specifically, I want... Where is... Consoles? One there. And another one there. How are we looking so far? That, yes. That feels so much better compared to the other bridge. Don't get me wrong, I liked the other bridge. It worked. But this just feels so much better. Because then I can do corner. Actually, this just grab light. Window's in the way. That's okay. I can do the double corner lights there. Let's make it nighttime. Radius of 6. Intensity, we drop you down. There. How does that look from the outside? Yeah, you're barely going to be able to see that at night. Basically, what you're saying is that was kind of a joke, but you wouldn't be surprised. All right. Let's get this back to daytime. Now that I have that taken care of, I need... Wow, I'm getting ready to start grinding down stuff. What's under here directly? Okay. Because what I would like to do is make you stairs. Coming down to the important parts. Might not be able to get away with that. Whoops. So we will come back a little bit. Unless... Okay, I might be able to do that. Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit out that way. Okay. If I do... If I do this... and that... If I do this and then I do that. If I do this and then I do that. Need catwalk stairs. There we go. This then comes back up here. I can... Hey, what's up, Angel? I could definitely set one up. Nah, much. How about yourself? I need passages. this allow me? Yes, it will. I don't want to do that one. I want to do that one instead. Need. Put this in this here because I want to do the windowed passage here, maybe? And then... no. Block there. Seven interior. I need something interior like. There. Yeah, that'll come down nicely. And then... nope, we'll do that. There we go. That winds up making it look a little more detailed, a little bit nicer as you transition down here. And of course, I like being able to look out and kind of see this, such as it is. However, what if... what if I do that instead? Because then I might be able to airtight this. As it moves down into the bowels of the ship. I don't know yet. We'll find out. What I do know, however... windows. Could do windows. Could definitely do windows. And then lighted corridor. Corner. The intersection. What if... yeah, there we go. So you come in this way. This will take you down to engineering. Although I should set up the doors here. And I can specifically go with this sliding door. So that it at least winds up acting like an airlock. And then, of course, it's realized. There we go. That'll help. There we go. So you'll be able to see through. Nice. And come down here, and I'll fill this in for engineering. Actually, you know what? Let's pop this in. Yeah, perfect. So again, it kind of gets airlocked. I need... that and that. We're going to pop that out of the way. I can switch this over to one of the armored conveyors there. And then now, this should wind up becoming airtight. As long as the doors are closed and there's no external release, this should all wind up being airtight through here. If I wanted to get real fancy, maybe I could also go ahead and let's do let's put you back, that there, and then put the air vent in there. It works. We're airtight. So that'll keep this area airtight. Yay. Perfect. Okay. Now I need to do something on this side. And then eventually cover this. What if there? I like the way that looks. It almost has kind of a stealth feeling to it. All right. Now what I need is to work on this side. Yeah. You definitely do that. I don't know why I keep... Actually, I know exactly why I keep doing that. That's muscle memory. Whoops. Let's do... Okay. What I want is not doable right there. Because what I was thinking of is I want some of the science stuff. I could do a refill stick. Ooh. What do I need? Okay, so you need to actually be connected to something. Okay, cool. because I haven't used a refill station yet, so I don't know how they act. But it looks like in order to use a refill station, it has to be connected to the conveyor network. So that's good information to have. What I want... Can I put something there? No. Because I'm also considering where I might want to get or put medical stuff. So let's bring this up here maybe. I want... the medical room. I could do... that. Yeah, that'll work. Hop in junction. I want to corner this straight, corner. And then probably just the three-way would be fine. The T-junction. And what I could do here... is, oh, yes. Just make this a very basic med bay. I don't need you there. Where's, yes. Seven, no, not seven, 6. 3. I need to pop that out, which needs the window. You to be the T-junction? No. That's always the fun of space engineers, though, is solving problems that you yourself have created. If I do a light, and then we do the T-junction. Because I kind of want to actually know it. No. That. And then there. Nope, that's wrong. There we go. Let's just get this in place. Probably a little derpy. What I could... Need... Oh, I can just put an inset bed here. Then I put... Aha! There we are. That becomes our medical room, which should be just fine. Okay. Of course, now I have no easy way to get into here, but that's okay. That needs... There it is. It's turret controllerception. What if... No. I was thinking, what if I made that an inset light, but I don't need to. That's just begging for Clang. Okay. It is Clang. That is the summoning circle for Clang. Alrighty. Next up, we need to finish more of the hull. That is the wrong direction. You know what I just realized? Is instead of doing... that, where is... I do that, and then I should be able to do... a ladder here. And I want one of the floor blocks, specifically you. I want that there. Okay. I like that. So that way I can use this ladder to get up to an airlock of sorts that will then let me outside. So I want to do... that there. No. Yeah, I like the way that looks. Although I don't necessarily need to be windowed. just do, actually, we'll do the light. Oh yeah, that's not going to work. I need, okay. I need a ladder there. Then I can go ahead and do the passage. Or no. God, I love those sorts of scam calls. Let's... Okay, yeah, that'll work. This comes up here. Boop. There we go. Okay. So that gives me an airlock out through the top. Medical bay in here. Recharge. Awesome. We've got a couple of beds in here. Even more awesome. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, what if instead of that, let's do... need... Aha. This, and then the T-junction. The curve. And then I should be able to put the cryo rooms. Yep, perfect. I can put a couple of cryo rooms in here. So you've got your regular beds, and then you've got log out places with the cryo chambers. Yeah, that'll work. Then that takes you, okay, cool. All right. So that takes care of a lot of the detailing inside. Yay. Let's go ahead and start detailing some of the outside as well. Interior victory, yeah, something like that. No. I think I should have something like that. As I'm trying to keep this kind of low profile. And what I'll do is yeah, that'll work. Okay, I can, for the time being, let's get the door in here like that. Or yeah, that'll be fine. I don't mind that so much. Unless I want to move it, which I could, but no, that'll be fine. There we go. And then there. Let's grab our railings. Okay, and then one of the things that I did, which I actually really enjoyed having on here, whoops, was setting up all of the thrusters so that they were protected by protected by railings. Here we go, and I'll just oh, thank God. Whoops. Wrong button. Okay, there we go. That was about to be real shitty. Okay. Oh, I was about to have to be real angry. I just realized, though, I don't actually want railings. It's auto-saving, but yeah, probably. Where? Actually, I wonder, now that I'm thinking about it, let's do this. Instead of removing all that, let's look at doing the half plates. Here we go. I mean, I suppose I could do that, but I don't necessarily want to for this, as I'm just trying to cover these. Oh, here's what I will do. There we go. Nope, I do want it all the way down so that way There we go. And maybe not on that side. No. Do that instead. And that. Close that in. I need you there. There. So that way I still get the protective side walls. But it also gives it a little bit of extra shaping. Yeah, I like that better. So what we're going to do... just get rid of all of that. There we go. All the way down. One there and there. Okay. Whoops, too far. And then finally... and that still allows us to walk around here without much issue, but it better protects the thrusters. It also will give them more armor in case this thing does get shot at. Not that I'm too worried about the top thrusters, but there we go. Okay. And this one, for some reason... that does still bug me, but that's okay. Wait, what? Oh, you were right. Okay. And now I should be able to put in... that one. That would actually be kind of cool. Although, well, you probably could, in a way. See, I don't know how you would be able to really effectively do it, but you could possibly do it with an event controller and a timer block. I think. Beyond that, I don't know how you would affect that to actually, like, do its thing. And that was... yes. And then... you... go there. And there. Yeah, honestly, if you just set up some sensors around the ship, and then if an enemy gets within range of those sensors, then just boom, trigger the jump drive and you're good to go. Just hope to God you're like doing something important, or, you know, like actually with the ship. Otherwise, your ride could wind up leaving you, which would be hilarious. Oh, gotcha. There's the light. Put you there. And then... there. Oh, wait a minute. Something seems a little off here. Oh, that's what's wrong. Duh. I have that incorrect. I knew that was too easy. Okay, that is like that on purpose, but this goes here. That is there. And then there we go. I knew something was wrong. All right, there we go. So, I'm in here. Let's go to the med bay. Med bay needs a light. Med bay gets a light. And actually, med bay already has one. Let's make you... kind of a nice warmish color. Same thing with this. A little extra. There we go. That looks nice. Yet. Yet should always be the key word. All right, that works. And actually, I might replace... Yeah, let's replace you. There we go. Yeah, that makes this look better. And I could go ahead and add in the door, but I think we should be fine. That gets real dark, but not a whole lot I can do about that. I could increase the radius of this. Drop the intensity down. That helps. Makes it a little bit easier to see. And then, of course, the rest of there. Awesome. Then, excellent. Let's get back to daytime and look how this is turning out. And I like it. I'm really starting to like it. An event controller does kind of act like human input. So that's one of those really nice things, is that you can get away with that. But I'm going to take a short break. I need something to eat. I'm kind of on the hungry side. So I'm going to go make myself some foods. And then when I get back, we will see about taking care of the back end and getting this set up for landing and additional thrusters. So I shall be back in just a few. Okay, we are back. I just had an idea for something. So one of the things that I've been trying to figure out is how I'm going to get I'll leave that there. How I'm going to get the drill drones connected. Right now, they sit kind of, well, they sit here. They connect, like we've got one on the other side right now. And they're tucked in against the side of the ship. What I'm thinking about whoops. Is actually no. Okay. You there. 2, 3. 2, 3. There. And maybe not that far. Yeah, that'll be better. I want piston. I want a hinge. And then I want connector. All right, so the way that I'm thinking about doing this is I set up need battery. All right, I can go out a lot farther than I thought. Okay, yeah. Went fine. I actually had a leftover chicken breast from the other night. Sad drone noises. But yeah, just chicken breast. I added a slice of Swiss, some lettuce, put it on some wheat bread, or oat wheat bread, mayo ranch. It was quite delicious. But what if... Come on. Thank you. Indeed. Then okay. Your lower limit is -90. Your upper limit is 0. Then reverse and reverse. Or instead of doing that, I'm trying to figure out what'll wind up being sort of the best configuration for this. And so what I'm thinking of doing is setting it up so that I could have actually, that's not quite the way I wanted it. Let's go here and then the advanced rotor. So let's bring this back. I want to make sure that that's not going to bump into anything and break itself. And it looks like it might. Yep, okay. So I would need you to come out. There. There. That, and then like so. Okay, your lower limit 0, upper limit should become 90. So now if I do reverse, that will package it up quite nicely. Although honestly, if I'm doing all that, I don't really need to have it accordioned in like that. Because then that kind of defeats the purpose. In my head, it was going to work a lot better than that. But the concept is a sound one. I'm trying to set it up so that I can sort of lock the drones out of the way. I wonder, what if instead of coming in from the side, like still have them lock onto the sides? Have the whole thing come down while rotating. That might work better, I think. Okay, so what? Because the height of it is also a problem. With how tall they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm just like 1 or 2 blocks short. And I don't necessarily want to put their connectors up here. However, if I can configure it so that instead it's something more like this. We push this up. And then oh what? Let's do. Yep, that's correct. Whoops. Okay, let's do that. You are there. And then that. All right. So I need you to go. All right. Your lower limit is 0. Your upper limit is 90. And then your upper limit is 0. Your lower limit is negative 90. Velocity. All right, so essentially I should be able to get I should be able to get 2 of those miners to dock here. Once they're docked, it rotates them up and pulls the whole thing down out of the way. So with this, I have a little bit of room. I wonder if I can sneak them inside of the ship. Let's grab. Now that's the other thing I should do, is eventually add an antenna to this. Let's see. Control. Ah, there we go. That is so much easier. Okay. I want to do. Oh. They are definitely not designed for atmosphere. Okay. Let's get verse. Control. Oop. Okay. Whoops. That is now connected. And that. So really the only thing that this drone needs is to have essentially to have an event controller to disable thrusters when it's currently connected. Otherwise, that should work fairly well. And then it's just a matter of yeah. And then that'll just lock down into place. Bingo. Doesn't take up too much space. In fact, if I really, really, really wanted to, what I would do is just put the advanced rotor directly off of the conveyor junction. I'd still have plenty of space between them. But I think giving it a little bit of that extra space really isn't a bad idea overall. So let's grab oh hell. Piston and 2 advanced rotors. Okay. Deployer. Let me get a button. There we go. Oops. Oops. That's even a really good speed, too. Now, the only reason why I wanted piston arms to extend outwards is so that I could get it to kind of clear the sides of the ship a little bit better. Because otherwise, this is kind of, well, it doesn't, well, it does have to, because, how does it look when it folds up? Well, that's incorrect, but oh well. Okay. Okay. So that, what if, instead of, because the other thing that I'm considering is, I need, what do I need? Piping everything up is one thing, and I've got some wiggle room up top that I can do that with. You know what? That may actually just wind up being for the best. Is if I, oops. That there. And there. And then we just bring you across. Okay. So that gives me a little bit of room up here. Where I can kind of run this back. And then this is one of those things in the more dots, which I'm just going to pop this open so I don't have to sit here and constantly like fly in and out of it. In more dots, the way that I have this set up for each of the connectors, which was pain in the ass. Oh, I really did just, okay. Out of the way. All right, so I've got this set up because this both is refueling, but then also making sure that items don't get sucked back in, is that I have a dual filter system on here. I have one coming in and I have one going out. And one is whitelisted and one is blacklisted. So essentially the way that it works is that once the drills connect to more dots, it'll go ahead and just suck everything out of it, but also not allow anything to go back in aside from refueling uranium and oxygen, I believe, or hydrogen. I think those are the two things that it needs. Let's just check here. It doesn't have any reactors. Okay. Welcome back. So you just run off of battery power, right? Yeah, batteries. Okay. Okay, so I don't have to worry about reactors. I just have to worry about fuel. And since these are generally designed to work in space, oh, I don't have to worry about that either. Okay. Nice. Okay, so what I need is let's drag this out and this out. I need I don't want to set that up. We'll do it like this. And then that way I can all right. So I will have our input and output. Ooh, what about we do that there? And there, like that. And then that way I can go ahead and I should be able to get that. And if needs be, I could probably just move this back a little bit. The AI tends to get a little wonky sometimes. What I'm thinking is that I get these to move, to rotate this way into the ship, and I get the other set to move towards the back of the ship. You are going to be 5, 6, 7. So from seven, just barely have enough room there. If I move it back one, I could probably, yeah, I'll have to move it back one. And then I could get it to fit comfortably. And then the fun part is going to be setting up the piping, but that shouldn't be too difficult either. Okay. So I need to Oh. Okay, that's fine. Let's get rid of that for now. Okay, I need from here 7, 8, 9, 10. Just to be on the safe side, because you never know. We'll do that and that. I want that and that. There. You. Whoops, nope. And there. Okay. That should be correct. And there we go. That's one of the things that a lot of people have noticed is that oftentimes if you power cycle the AI or just turn them off and back on again, they tend to start forgetting what it was that they were attempting to do or even what they were supposed to be doing initially. So that's actually a fairly well-known issue with the AI blocks. Let's see about doing the T-junction. That way I can go ahead and separate these as I need to. That's unfortunately usually how it works too. All right, you need to have your lower limit set to -90. Your upper limit is set to 0. Okay. Oops. And okay. So that should, let's actually get you in the correct orientation so that I can disconnect that. Fly it over here and see how well it's going to work. Because once I get this connected, then I have a better idea of how this should there we go. Okay. We're now connected. And reverse. There we go. Plenty of space in there. So let's kind of design around this. There we go. All right. So this will wind up helping me make sure that I can keep the design of the ship fairly compact and still work with the drones. I already like how that's going to look too. Let's bring this through here. And I want this to run along there. Okay. So that takes care of that one. Let's do the next set. I want there and there. We need our filters. And actually, you, I will reverse. There we go. So you're going to be opposite of the way you are normally. Or over here. Okay. And again, that. And excellent. All right, we're going to call you rotor starboard rear. Your lower limit is 0. Your upper limit is going to be 90. Your velocity is 1. Yes. Yes. Sorry. Little evil villain there. It happens. Okay. And then I just need... Are you... No, you're not rotated yet. Okay. For advanced rotor SB AB rotor SB front. All right, no worries, man. Okay, so now when I reverse that and when I reverse that, should be, yeah, plenty of space for each one. They shouldn't interrupt each other too badly. Awesome. Okay. That is a much tighter and more compact design than I had previously. Previously, the one, it worked, but it was just really big and cumbersome. So I think in this particular case, the more compact design is going to suit me a lot better. And what I also want to do is, let's kind of flesh this out partially. Kind of, yeah, I think that'll work. Because the other big thing that I need to worry about is power generation. Now, I do have a couple of options here in terms of how to generate power. We could look at doing warfare reactors. Which I could put 2 of them on here again. And they would fit quite snugly right here. And then the only other thing would be setting up refineries. And I think the final bit of all of this would also be to set up the vectoring pylons. So that way the whole thing would be able to take off with massive thrusters, massive hydrogen thrusters. And then once it is up off the ground, then the thrusters can rotate into place, lock in with merge blocks, and act as forward thrusters to push you up. Or set it up so that they can rotate between backwards, forwards, and reverse. And I could probably even set up the rotor to be fast enough so that you basically press a button and it whips around into those locations and then locks in. But then once it's merge blocked, it turns the rotor off. Ooh, that would be a pain in the ass. Doable, but a pain in the ass. Also, you know what I ought to do is just turn off the day-night cycle. but yeah, don't need that now. So let's run in here real quick. I want rotate. Nope, reverse. And reverse. There we go. I actually really like that. Awesome. I think, however, I am going to go ahead and call it for today. A little bit of a short one. However, we got quite a lot accomplished. Still a lot more to go on this, but I think I'll work on this over the weekend. Speaking of which, this is the big weekend. This is the weekend before we get the server started. So like I have mentioned previously, starting next month, starting next week, on Monday, I'm going to be starting up a Space Engineer server. It's only going to have, I'm thinking, about 20 slots. If you're a subscriber, you'll get an invite. I'll have to get in contact with those people. Make sure you are on the community Discord. If you need an invite to that, !Discord in chat, or just wait for Nightbot to show up. But subscribers will definitely get in. There are a few regulars that I have in mind. I have a fairly specific list of people who I will also be inviting just cuz. It will be a random star system with modded planets. I'm not going to go too heavy on the mods. I'm going to try and keep it light, but we are going to be doing NPC providers as well as that pack of NPCs and a few other things. The general gist will be survival and just trying to survive. I'll see about picking like a nice array of planets so that we can all have something to look forward to, and it will run for the entire month of June. If it is successful, I may see about continuing it for the next month. It just kind of depends. Also, next week on the 5th, Dune Awakening's early release starts. So that'll be Thursday. I will be doing that on Thursday on stream. Maybe Friday, we'll see. Other than that, though, there's not much else news. So, like I said, just keep posted in Discord. I'll be putting out that information and trying to get a hold of subscribers so that way I can get them notified as to what's going on. Other than that, though, that is going to be it for today. As always, thank you all for joining me on these misadventures. So glad to have you guys along for the ride. You all have a wonderful weekend. Stay out of trouble. And remember, if you get caught, I don't know you. I will catch you guys next week.